Hello, everyone, and welcome to All New Comic Book Late Night Live. We hope. I'm Captain Logan.
I'm Eric.
And we've got some really strange technical difficulty going on with Google right now. We are expecting to get kicked off at any moment. It's been kicking us off whenever we try to get on. There's an error message. And we thought we would try broadcasting and see if that only happens when you're not broadcasting. And so far, it's staying alive. And this is, I think, longer than when it was kicking us off. So anyway, and everybody can see us. So I guess we'll attempt to do our show. Hi, folks. How's it going? Thanks for being here. If you're watching live, thanks a lot for watching after the fact. If you're doing that, tonight it is just Eric and I. Lo wasn't able to make it. She's got family in town tonight, so we will see her next week. Yeah. Nobody worry. This is not Eric taking Lo's place. He is. We have added him to the show to talk about some more books. Although tonight, I think we're going to have some crossover.
It's a good thing that you had me this last week, too, because this week you have been solo.
Yeah, that's right, which I've done before, but this is more fun. Most certainly. So we unveiled our new format last week with our irritatingly named Point 1 issue, and now we're on to week 1, which is really week 2, because we want to make things as confusing as possible, just like in the world of comic books. Right now, let's go into our first segment, which is our trivia question, and tonight's trivia question is a Batman question, and you will, of course, know the answer to this question, but I want to see if other folks do. Go ahead and leave your answer as soon as you've heard this, and the lucky winner is going to get a digital copy of Now Thanos #1, because that has so much to do with Batman. It's really because DC, even with Rebirth, still doesn't give us digital codes in the books. Boy, that's the thing I thought maybe they would have added, and it's too bad that they didn't do that. But $2.99, I guess, is good enough. Anyway, so except for All-Star. So
I'd rather Marvel be at $2.99 and not give digital codes.
I'm with you there. Yeah, I'm absolutely with you there. At the same time, I do.
You have nothing to give away for prizes, though. Yeah,
I can't be as much of a cheapskate, I'd have to buy more stuff. Anyway, so here is tonight's trivia question. In what low-print run one-shot comic did Bane first appear, the issue that chronicles his origin before Nightfall begins? If you know the title of that book, leave it in the comments right now. The first person to get it right will get a copy of Now Thanos #1, and I will reveal the answer and the person who got it right at the end of the show. And let's go ahead and get in now to announced books. This is our tiny news segment, and both of the books we're going to talk about tonight that were recently announced. Oh, somebody got it. Good job. Good for you.
Is it Baning with Bane?
It is not Baning with Bane, although that would have been a great name for a parody, I believe. Oh, was it not the first appearance? Okay, well, the thing that chronicles his origin. Red Alert Antilles claims it was not his first appearance. I thought for sure that it was.
His first appearance.
Is
he in like a panel? Is this like a Hulk 180 situation?
Or like he walks into a room and he's like, I'm Bane! And then later on you find out what in the world that means.
He walks over and punches the guy, goes, I'm Luke Cage!
Do you feel like you're in charge? You don't know who I am! And I'm mortified. Okay, so let me write down this person's name real quick and I will reveal it later. So good job, person who got it right. And now, let's go ahead and, like I said, go on to announce books. Both of these are things that Eric wanted to talk about and that I have no opinion on or really a lot of interest at all. Go ahead, Eric. The first thing Eric's going to talk about is the newly announced America Chavez book. Go ahead.
So Miss America Chavez was introduced in a miniseries called Vengeance, written by Joe Casey, and she's kind of bopped around a little bit to the Marvel Universe.
Batman 489. I wonder where he is in that.
I don't know.
Okay, we'll have to look that up later.
Most notably, Young Avengers, and I really didn't care for what they did with her in Young Avengers, which will be important in a second. But a couple of months ago, Joe Casey announced he was doing a creator-owned book called All America. I think it was with Nick Dragotta, who is the artist on Vengeance, or who was the artist on Vengeance, and it is very clearly a Miss America Chavez book. I don't know if he didn't like what Marvel did with her, or if he had intended to write a book with her and Marvel said no. But he is very clearly doing a create your own book with this character. There's just so on the heels of the announcement of All America, we're getting a new comic called starring Miss America Chavez, and boy, do I not care. I didn't like what they did with her Young Avengers. I really didn't. And the entire interview is her just talking about, is the new writer just talking about how much she loved what they did with her in that book and how she's going to build on that stuff.
Mm-hmm. She is Gabby Rivera, who is a young adult prose novelist.
Yeah. And she says something about how Marvel's grabbing up young adult prose novelists because they think between people that read those and people that read superheroes.
It is, or at least of people in that age group that are. I mean, there's got to be something to that when you look at their marketing strategy right now, because Marvel's marketing strategy has shifted hard in just the last year, and there were already quite a few books doing this, but Marvel seems to have really put their eggs in the younger reader basket, in the
I agree.
in the millennial basket, and it's interesting to look at them compared to DC right now, because with Rebirth. And I think you could argue that 52 was doing that to a degree, and now
I think if you tried to do it but didn't actually know what the youth market wanted,
and Marvel is succeeding at it better. Certainly, I'm going to drop down to your level, but that sounded nice. But what Rebirth is doing,
but
nothing is beneath me. But what DC is doing with Rebirth is trying to cater back to their old base. And so I think we're really going to start seeing a divide of the ages, at least to some degree, between those two companies.
Yeah. And not to get critical, everything I read in that interview about America sounds like everything I hate about youth culture right now.
Yeah.
It sounds like the last thing I want to read. But I will be trying All America comics because I love Joe Casey. I may try the first issue of America to compare and contrast the two books, but it really feels like that Joe Casey is basically doing a Create Your Own book with a character he made for them. And so they had to rush out one with that character.
Don't you feel like, and I mean, I don't know anything about the character. I had not heard of that character until you told me about the thing with Joe Casey, with his sort of pseudo reinventing the character so that he can use it again. But this, as soon as I saw that announcement, I was like, oh, Eric's going to have things to say. But I feel like there are probably all of 10 people that will read that book because they like that character apart from Joe Casey, right?
The All America comics or the America?
No, this thing Marvel's doing. It seems more likely that will end up appealing to people that have never heard of that character before.
Well, people liked Young Avengers.
And being another young female superhero for that group to jump on.
Well, and that's possible, and probably what the majority of that audience will be.
Yeah.
But people did really like Young Avengers, the Kieran Gillen run that launched with Marvel Now.
Okay, so Kelly's not the only person that's ever written for this character.
No, Casey.
Casey.
Joe
sorry.
Kelly, different
I
kind
know who that is. Yeah.
And
where is he anyway?
No, like I said, Gillen wrote her in Young Avengers, and I did not like what.
She's in Ultimates right now. See, I haven't been reading that. I have it. It says she's being pushed there. Okay, well that's interesting. I'm going to try to catch up on Ultimates because we have Ultimates 2 starting next week. Yeah. So anyway, but there are 12, 14 issues of that, and I bought all of them, but I've only read the first 3. I'm not caught up on it, so I really loved what I read though. Yeah,
I haven't read it, but I'll get a chance.
An artist on that America book is the guy who's doing Howard the Duck, Joe Quinones.
Okay. I don't know either of them, but this book really doesn't sound like my thing. I only felt like mentioning it because I think they're only doing it because Joe Casey is doing another book.
That's really interesting. You should read them both and compare them, though.
I
think it would be interesting.
I will at least read the first issue. I may I may die. I may go crazy.
I think it would be cool to do that thought experiment, though. Not thought experiment, but you can just compare it, do a comparison contrast exercise here on the show. And the other thing you want to talk about was IDW's got Highlander. Have they announced a book, or have they just announced that they have?
They announced a book, which is how I found out they have the property. They didn't make a big announcement about we now have the Highlander property, but they've announced that they are going to do a prequel miniseries. Is something that makes sense. I mean, those characters are immortal. It's a prequel specifically to the first movie, which also makes sense because that movie ends. I mean, I know there are 4 preceding films, but that movie has an ending. So doing a prequel sounds like it could be fun. If it's successful, maybe we'll get some other Highlander stuff. I'd like to see good Highlander comics, so I'm excited for that, and I hope it's good.
It'll be interesting to see how many people are getting into that. Because
I don't know if they announced a writer. I just know that they announced.
It's been a long time since we've had Highlander or anything like who younger than besides you, who younger than 40 is going to be excited about that book?
Yeah, Ryan? I mean, they put out an anime movie in like 2008 and heard about that, and I bet you there are people that saw it that didn't even know it was tied to anything else.
Somebody in the comments says that we're freezing a lot. Let me know, folks, if other people are having that problem. That is an impossible thing for us to tell on our end.
Yeah,
looks good to us.
Yeah. Hey, so we're happy it hasn't crashed.
Yeah, we're happy that we're even able to broadcast. Google seems to be having some strange glitches tonight, so it's impossible to tell if we're having technical difficulties, how much of it is on my end and how much of it is Google.
Strange things are happening to us.
Yes, they are. Let's talk about something that we've never done on the show before. We're going to do a new segment that we're going to bring up once a month, thereabouts, and we're going to talk about sales numbers for the last month. We will try to make this not too boring and dry for you, but it's a thing that we seem to find ourselves often going, I wonder how well this book is going, and it's a thing we can easily look up, and we could have done all along.
Well, and a lot of times, like, we'll look at it like, that book is doing that, or how is that book?
And you will have that reaction, the first one, immediately when we pull this up.
Okay.
But I thought it would be cool for our own education and everybody else's to start looking at some of the sales figures, and that will, of course, inform a lot of our discussions about why things get canceled and why things stick around, and why we have so many tie-ins to certain things and stuff. It's a really useful thing to have when just looking at the marketing side of comics, which, of course, I am a story guy, but I'm also very interested in business, and it's a thing that I'd like to talk about a little bit more on the show if we can. So let me go ahead and bring up those sales figures. So we're going to look at October, and we're going to start doing this the first week of the month, usually, if the figures come out that soon, and I think they do. But we'll go ahead and play catch up now, since this is a new segment we're adding to the show into October. So the number one comic from last month, and I have to kind of qualify this by saying the reason this is because of Loot Crate. This got put up, and that's going to skew numbers. Loot Crate ordered a bunch of these because they put them in a bunch of packages, but it's Big Trouble in Little China and Escape from New York, which is not a crossover that would have done 421,000 copies if it weren't for Loot Crate. So
I've been wanting to read those books, I just haven't. Obviously, I love both of those movies.
I liked the first issue of Escape from New York a lot.
I'll have to,
I didn't read past that. But
I'm going to check.
I did try that
check them out at some point.
Number 2, we'll do top 10, and then we'll kind of scroll through it and look at some of the books that we're reading and things that we're interested in. We'll spend 4 or 5 minutes on this. Number 2 is Champions. I did not realize this book was doing so good.
No way.
Yeah. So you know how we saw an ad that was claiming that it was
the
premier team book? Well, hard not to call it that when it does 328,000 copies.
Issue 1?
That's issue 1.
Okay.
And but that is mad.
Well, and that's exactly what you were talking about. That is the youth book.
Yeah,
it's all the kids.
But that tells you how many of them there are. I mean, that means there's a lot more young people reading comics than I realized.
Yeah.
Like people quite a bit younger than I am.
That's good.
No, that is good. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, maybe not so much for what I like in comics, but it's good for the medium.
Yeah, but I don't want to make assumptions about that book. I haven't looked at it. So
I just know it's an all young cast.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've read that it is trying to be really progressive. So, but I don't know how the story is. So I might retroactively
I
try to grab
looked
that.
at the cover and I was like, well, that's going to be a book that's going to try and be Guardians in comic book form, and I just don't care.
Well, and I had a hard time making myself care too. But
It's Ramos, right?
It is Ramos, and I don't like Ramos. Yeah, it's got a lot of things going against it for me. But on the other hand, I do keep up with Miles Morales, and it would be nice to know, like, if important things happen to him in that book that end up affecting Bendis's book, then I'm going to wish I knew them. So I might kind of.
Well, you haven't had that with Avengers. All different Avengers. He's done that.
Well, that's a good point. But this is the premiere book now, so there's
Wade
more of
writing this one too?
Wade is writing that book.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he called it the premiere book.
And I like Wade. I'm not a big Wade fan, but like I would. Wade is the part of that team that would make me want to read it.
Yeah, I'm not a big Wade fan, but when the next new #1, big one, whatever we want to call those, it was so much easier when it was just point one.
Yeah.
But the next one of those that comes out
just
for
call
Avengers,
it a jumping on point. That's what it is.
Yeah, the next jumping on point for Avengers, I'll probably jump on and try it.
Number 3 is Doctor Strange Sorcerer's Supreme, 150. That's surprising.
Yeah,
I mean, I know Doctor Strange just had a movie. I didn't expect that book. A Doctor Strange sort of team book. I did not expect that to do that well. Number 4 from last night. We just sold a bunch of comics yesterday. Number 4 from last month is Dark Knight 3. Number 6 did 133,000. That's tracking for about what that's.
But it continues to blow my mind because I don't know anyone reading that book.
I don't either.
No one's talking about this book.
Just me and you.
It's just us.
Yeah,
It's nice to have company.
We're in some kind of a bubble, apparently. Speaking of bubbles, because Batman used to be in that 52 bubble, Batman number 8 and Batman number 9 take those slots because, of course, that's a double shipping book with 129,000 and 126 respectively.
Are those the Monster Men issues? Or is that after them?
Monster Men and no, actually, both of those would have to be. What are we? 11? No, one is Monster Men, and then the next 2 would be. I Am Suicide because this is the 3rd issue of I Am Suicide.
Okay, cool.
Or the third
Suicide.
installment. Yeah. Civil War 2, 118,000. Even though a lot of people that I'm talking to don't care about that book, the events always do over 100,000. That seems to be standard. Darth Vader number 25, 111,000. That's a little less than I would have expected actually with that book.
Really?
Yeah. Now I don't know what it was tracking before that, but that was the final issue of that book, and it was
on your top 3.
Yeah, and it was a big deal. Like they did a really good job advertising that, but. Of course, the only people that would probably read that would be people that had been keeping up with it.
And you,
I kind of expected that.
Who have not been keeping up with it.
No, I was buying it. I will go back and finish that. I did read that last issue, so I know how it ends. And then I read an issue or 2 after Vader Down, and then there's like 11, 15 something issues that I have not read. All-Star Batman 106. It's not good, guys. I'm sorry. It's not
buying it.
Yeah.
I know he is.
If you like it, it's cool. But
But if you don't like it, stop buying it.
Yeah. You don't have to buy it just because it's Snyder. And I guess that's the only. And I bought 4 issues of it now. Or however.
You better keep buying it because I want to read it. I mean, it's terrible. But I want to keep reading.
Yeah. Well, you know my issue with that is just that price tag.
I know.
That sets a scary precedent to me because it's like, oh well, if a particular creator on a particular character sells that well, we can charge anything and people will pay it.
And they will.
Yeah, and that bothers me. Especially because that's the company that I've been praising for dropping back $1.
Yeah.
And then finally, Walking Dead at number 10 with 91,000. It is still tracking it close to 100,000, which is a little bit surprising to me.
People still love it.
That it's still there. Yeah. Okay, let's look at some other stuff. I'm just going to scroll down this list. We get the top like 300 on this list I use. By the way, I use comichron.com, comichron.com, and they have a monthly comic sales list there. So let's go ahead and Eric, and just kind of run down this list.
Jessica Jones
point out anything you want to mention. With 74 and 73 respectively. Those are really good numbers for Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
That tells me that some people that watched that TV show that didn't read Bendis's previous arc probably bought that.
Well, and there's also this thing of like that was a really well-regarded comic series that I bet a lot of people. I mean, I didn't read it when it was coming out. Like a lot of people have read it since.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, I really like that, and it's coming back.
I would say that probably would have done 30 to 50 without the TV show. I think there's another 10 or 20,000 copies that you got.
And Iron Man's been jumping up since Bendis took over. Iron Man didn't in the top 25. I think Infamous is low for Bendis' Iron Man. I want to say I saw it in the top 15 when
Sure, but it's not Tony Stark.
Yeah.
The fact that it's Doctor Doom in that suit and doing 75,000, close to 75,000, is pretty good.
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man at 73,000. So Slot is still going real strong there. What else do we want to look at? Wonder Woman is at 66. That's still doing really well. Trinity is at 65. I didn't know it was doing that well.
Black Panther's 38.
Wow, cool. Congratulations to Mr. Coates there. Batman Beyond 60. That's surprising that's doing that well.
No, it's not.
You don't think so?
Because nobody knew. The first issue or the first Rebirth issue. Mm-hmm. I don't think it stays there.
No, I don't think
issue 2, 3, it's going to drop like a stone.
That's a good point, and that was kind of a sleeper thing.
Yeah,
where it came out well after all the number ones. Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, I know people like Batman Beyond, but I would have expected that to be more like a 40 or 50,000 copy book. I didn't think it would go that high necessarily. Okay, looking at other stuff. Obviously, lots of things that we're reading not coming up right now. Green Arrow, 45,000. I'm sorry, 49. What were you saying?
I was just putting the number. I was just saying the number where it is on the list.
Oh no, that is 46,000. Yeah, I was looking at two different issues because again, the double shipping thing is at 45,000.
What's Great Lakes Avengers at?
Great Lakes Avengers is a book. 40,000.
Wow.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was the thing that got retitled, right?
I don't know.
Wasn't that book that was called something else and then it got retitled, or am I thinking of something different?
I think you're thinking of something different.
I forget. Okay. Serenity No Power of the Verse I read last week. 39,000. That's pretty good.
Yeah. For
one of those.
What's Gwenpool doing?
Gwenpool
and Daredevil.
What number?
And Moon Knight. 91.
What number? 91. Oh, you shot way down there.
Sorry.
1,000. Yeah, it's outselling Daredevil by not much. They're right neck and neck. Moon Knight is still at about 33, which is still better than I would have expected with that book. Paper Girls is at 32. New Superman is at 31. That should be doing better than that.
Doctor Strange, Mystic Apprentice, which I believe is a tie-in book.
I didn't even.
I believe that's a tie-in prequel one-shot to the movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's doing better than Spider-Gwen.
Interesting.
And Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, Spider-Gwen dropped off quite a bit.
That's
I wonder if people lost interest after the renumbering, to any degree at all,
or it was just a quick fad.
Yeah, because I'm not hearing people talking about her the way they were.
No, and I read the whole first mini, and then it wasn't supposed to be a mini, but then Secret Wars, it became a mini, and then the first arc I think of the book, and I like it well enough.
Yeah,
it's really hipstery and modern-y, but
it is, but it's a
right.
good alternative to Slot Spider-Man because in a lot of ways it feels like traditional Spider-Man stories.
Yeah,
and that's what I like about it. It's a high school kid again.
Yeah,
and it's doing the street level responsibility stuff instead of the.
I like it, and I'm surprised it's I don't think it's dropping quality from what I read.
Spawn is at 22,000. That would be 22,305, but I didn't. But I'm not buying that book anymore.
It's doing better than TMNT Universe.
Yeah, which angers me. The Ninja Turtle books should be doing better. Ninja Turtles Universe only at 19,000, which for IDW, I mean, like that book is doing well enough to make another book. I mean, the Ninja Turtles book. I don't know. I don't see the regular book. Surely it's not outselling TMNT because it usually is. Oh no, it is. The ongoing is only at 17,000. It usually hovers between that and 23.
Well, but remember, TMNT Universe is number one. Number one's always
yeah. Yeah, but we're already on number 3, so I thought we were looking at the. No, that's number 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. We should move on. Star Trek Bold to Go is only at 15,000.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is at Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Where'd it go? I lost it. It's really low on the list where it belongs.
Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and move on, shall we? So there's a few numbers, some things that we're interested in, and that we wanted to chat about real quick. Now let's go ahead and move on to our top 3 for last week. And Eric, would you like to do your number 3 first, sir?
All right, my number 3.
Go ahead.
Is Batman number 11. Batman number 11.
There you go.
It's great. continues to be good. Tom King's killing it.
Okay, well, my number 3. Oh,
is your number 3 also?
my number 3 actually is also Batman.
Do I just
so we can just talk about it? Absolutely. Yeah.
This really should be called, based on the 3 issues that we've gotten of this arc so far, this should be called I Am Catwoman, yes?
So far.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love what he's doing with Catwoman.
But they wanted to make her a big reveal at the end of that first issue, so you would have had to have written it slightly
Well,
differently.
and she's a reveal in the second issue, too. A double reveal.
But no, that's true. I don't really get this title yet because it's not about him, and I kind of thought maybe it would be.
Suicide?
Yeah. Like Psycho Pirate?
Yeah.
I mean, with that title...
Well, based on the title, I thought he was going to have a team of... Like, it was going to be like a Suicide Squad
that's
thing.
a good point, yeah.
But
because we assembled a team at the beginning, and we are slowly doing stuff with them, but it's not a big, like, the team goes to do a thing all together kind of story.
I'm still not fully sure everyone that's on Batman's team.
Yeah,
but it's really good.
I think they're going to reveal with each of them why they're there, don't you? Because
we just found out why.
We just sort of found out why Wesker's. We don't entirely know that yet, but
yeah.
Anyway, you want to give us like a slight synopsis about that?
And the ventriloquists make their way through the facility.
That's pretty much what happens. Yep, and we're talking about all those people Catwoman murdered.
Yeah,
wish I'd read that.
137. Does anyone know where that happened? I assume it's Batman Eternal, because I know she was a big mob boss in Batman Eternal. I assume that's where it happened.
Or maybe it even happened to Batman and Robin Eternal, given that.
In War or We Are Robin, or one of the many Batman books that I did not read.
That I didn't read either. Yeah, but I'm making the assumption that it all happened at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Mind the gap. Cap, do you think Batman is a puppet by ventriloquist? Would be great.
Maybe. Man, wouldn't that be a twist?
It sure would.
But
and the next arc will be called "I Am Ventriloquist," or
a lot like last issue. It's really just a character piece for Catwoman. I think. Mm-hmm. It's really good. It's also be writing a Catwoman book. I think.
I would love that.
He's got the best handle on Catwoman I've read in a long time.
It says the mass. Excuse me. It says DC Stranded said because everyone that leaves a comment is just automatically a reliable source.
Is that what it said?
Is that what it says? DC Stranded says that the mass murder is a retcon.
Oh, so it's something that happened like after
nobody knows anything about this, and it was so that would mean that when it was revealed at the end of that, it was a surprise to everyone.
Okay, all right, then I'm interested to know what that is. I assume it was something I didn't read.
I kind of like that better.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Just because it's so much of a better jumping on point.
Well, and it does this thing. Catwoman's such a tough character because we want to redeem her and move her towards the side, but then she's not the character that everyone thinks.
Yes, Red Letter and Tullies, you are generally a reliable source.
It's like C-3PO talking to R2-D2.
What do you mean?
I don't hear any, like, I don't see any, and then you're just...
Sorry, I'm just responding to the comment. I'm sorry, what is the point of a live show if you're not going to interact with the live viewers? Sorry, Eric.
But
if I turn this, would it help? Like, can you see? Oh,
well, there goes.
Well, there goes that. Yep. There it is. Okay, it's back.
But I can see. I just have to lean forward. And pay
all the viewers are back.
But so with Catwoman, we do this dance, right, where we kind of make her good, but because that's not the character people really know, we still treat her like a criminal. I think this is an interesting way of maybe place of a gray area, because so often she's not in a gray area. Really, we just kind of act like she is. She's basically a superhero that sometimes maybe steals things so that we can still say she's a bad guy.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of that is to make Batman seem less unsympathetic for having a romance with her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's often why we feel the need to do that, and it makes it easier for her to star in her own book, just like Venom or something.
Yeah. But I really like what he's doing with Catwoman. The few times Bane has showed up, I've really liked how he writes Bane. He only gets a couple lines dialogue in this in the previous issue, but I really like it. He's got a gravitas to it, how he writes him.
Yeah. This is the most I've liked Catwoman in a long time.
Yeah, same here.
I love what she looks like in this book. I'm going to have a hard time not just talking about art with this, which is not what I usually do. This is by an artist that neither of us were familiar with.
Nope.
Named Mikkel Janine.
Yep.
And I wish he was the regular artist for this book. First of all, the coloring is really cool, and I just like the style of this. It is somewhere between like the really gritty stuff that that you often get with Batman and that you get with Capullo, and then I mean, not that he's like insanely gritty, but you know what I mean. It's kind of pencily. That's what I like about Capullo. And it's somewhere between that and Jim Lee, where it's like polished, somewhat polished artwork that still feels really gritty and street level, with the kind of coloring that you get in an Andrea Sorrentino comic.
I would put the artwork maybe somewhere around like Yannick Paquette.
Yeah, I keep trying to figure out something to compare it to. You're right, because there's a lot of that kind of shadow work in it. And he likes to draw Batman's face obscured a lot, like you see in the background there, which I always really love.
Yeah.
But the greatest thing in this issue, and this would have put it in my top 3, even if I didn't like anything else in the book potentially, is this really cool full-page spread that is like breaking up panels, but what you're looking at is one picture with the same 2 characters in a bunch of different places as they're traversing this sewer system. And I feel like I've seen things like this before.
Yeah, no, there's actually Spider-Man books I think tend to do this when like he'll jump or swing and we'll follow him.
But what I liked about it here was that it's a way to get an entire conversation on 2 pages. And
not just be person's face. It's not the Bendis thing to do.
Yeah, and so you feel like you're following these 2 as they're going through this
and having a conversation.
And one of the things that that makes it so memorable, I mean, this could end up putting this issue in my top 10 for the year just because of this. Kind of like I had with the Maze issue with Snyder and Court of the Owls.
Yeah.
Because it's a great conversation between Catwoman and Wesker, where she's trying to nail the psychology of him and is asking him if the puppet is just a personality or part of him or what exactly it is. And as he always does, he insists that it's not.
Well, and what I like about that is it must be nice to be able to put away your darkness.
Yeah. Because she can't do that. It's always there. It's always this conflict of the hero versus the monster. And I love that. And you need Catwoman to have done something as extreme as killing a bunch of people if you're gonna do that.
Yeah. No. Now that we know,
she can't talk about it as a monster versus just greed or something.
Stealing jewels from rich people.
Yeah.
Cat themed.
Yeah, because she was always able to justify it before. The criminal activity where she never sees herself entirely as the bad guy. She can kind of justify why she does that to some degree. And of course, there's a lot of different ways to count.
Knowing that we don't know the 237 things, 37 people thing, makes all of this a lot more interesting because. Now I have questions.
If that's true, and we should look it up to make sure. But I mean, I trust you, but I don't have a specific source. If that is the case, then that means that is meant to be a mystery, and I can be sure that it will be paid off.
Yeah.
And that's exciting. Anything else you wanted to say about that? It is just.
I'm not going to spoil it, but the ending's great.
Yeah,
it's great. So yeah, no, that was great.
It's exciting. Can't wait. Oh, and I also love that Catwoman says the thing that Batman kept saying over and over again last issue.
Yes. That's great.
When we finally get to Bane, because last issue Batman kept saying that he's gonna break Bane's back, and she throws that back again.
Yeah.
That's pretty great. Okay, what is your number 2? Since we both talked about that.
My number 2 is now Thanos.
Oh, now Thanos!
Number
1.
2?
What's my number 1?
Okay.
This is my number 1, so we'll go ahead and just talk about it now.
Okay.
Here you go.
Now Thanos is great.
This is Jeff Lemire.
Yeah, this is Jeff Lemire and Deodato.
Deodato,
who is someone I don't usually love.
He works great for this, and it's consistent with what Thanos has looked like a lot lately. I forget who drew the Thanos miniseries that
his chin's different in this.
That
you notice that?
Jason Aaron did, but it is consistent with that artwork in Infinity. But yeah, I did not notice the chin.
It's more.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, it's more leveled off.
Yeah, it doesn't edge in here, and it's kind of like
It
coming out
doesn't
his
look
lips.
as Skrullish.
Yeah.
No, I didn't even notice that.
Which maybe that's an intentional choice to make it less Skrullish.
But I'm just saying that the style of it is real similar.
Mhm.
But it also looks like, I don't mean to keep bringing up Sorrentino, but sometimes people who draw for Lemire tend to go to similar places.
So Diodato just got off of Invincible Iron Man, and the thing about Invincible Iron Man when Diodato got in there was, I don't know who was coloring there, but he looked better than he's ever looked, and he looks even better here. I don't know if it's the same colorist or someone figured out how to color and ink Diodato so that he doesn't look stiff, and it looks amazing.
You're right, it is the coloring and inking.
Yeah,
probably, yeah.
Because Diodato always looks stiff. Man, this is a real big, fun, dark, twisted, like cosmic epic.
Mm-hmm.
It's what I want the Guardians book to be like. I haven't read Guardians in a while, but this is what I want it to be. That's what I want all space fantasies to be. Really.
I mean, you sort of expect Guardians to be a little bit more absurdist than this.
Yeah, but this is the kind of stuff.
I mean, when you say fun, you mean like black fun.
Yeah. It's not.
It's still escapist while being dark and heavy.
Yeah. I love that Star Fox is going to be a main character in this.
I forgot that was a thing.
I miss him. I miss you, buddy. I miss him real bad.
That should be a crossover. Star Fox. Star Fox.
He's still got his dumb 70s haircut.
Nothing looks stupid in that artwork.
No. It doesn't look dumb.
You're right. There is absurdity, but it doesn't feel like and melodrama. I mean, certainly, over the top, grandiose kind of speeches and stuff. It's Shakespearean like that.
This is largely a setup book.
Yeah.
We're just kind of putting pieces in place. We're doing some stuff with Star Fox and that Lobo-looking guy, and we're doing some stuff with Thanos' son. And this is all just kind of setting the stage.
Yeah.
But oh boy, am I excited to see the stage.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's then a good setup issue done.
And Lemire does Thanos dialogue great. There isn't a single line where I'm like, I don't know, that doesn't really sound like something Thanos would say. It's
not the Starlin fun bombastic Thanos that I like, but it's as good as the more super takes himself seriously Thanos gets.
Yeah. Starlin to me.
You think so?
Yeah. I don't know if there's a lot of room.
I like smiley Thanos. That's my thing.
Yeah.
Is like the way that the way we had him in Avengers Assemble.
Mm-hmm.
I forget who did that book.
That was Bendis. Yeah,
I really like getting back to the really arrogant, pompous, enjoying what he's doing.
Well,
Thanos.
I think that's what this is. It's just because he's not fighting superheroes, he actually is above these people he's dealing with.
You wouldn't think that, though, if you had read the Jason Aaron mini, because he writes him just like this, and it's an origin.
Okay. Well, I thought Lemire wrote him really well. I really liked him.
Yeah, with what's going on right now, it's totally understandable that he has the mood he has, and it's not inconsistent with Smiley Thanos, but I do think it's Jason Aaron's Thanos before it's anybody's.
Okay. And
I'd like you to read that, because I think based on this, you might enjoy that.
Yeah, I really liked this Thanos. I'm really excited to see where this goes. I'm excited for the series.
Yeah, I am too.
And I didn't know it existed before last week when you were looking through.
I didn't either. I was just like, yay, Thanos! I still want all of these to say now on the top of them.
Now Thanos.
No, I don't have a lot else to add. I think
Do you want to talk about the title page you love? Yeah,
Okay. So, this is a thing that this got from Star Wars, I'm pretty sure, and I really like that we did it in Star Wars. We try to make it feel cinematic, like you're watching the beginning of a Star Wars movie, and you have the crawl, and then you turn the page, and it's the title Star Wars. We do that with this. Not that it has a crawl, but you have kind of a cold open. You have a teaser, and then it goes Thanos returns. I love this.
Well, and what I love,
it's so wonderfully cinematic and again grandiose.
Well, and what I love about it is the way that prologue is built. It is building to Thanos returns, and whatever the line is right before this carries on directly from that. And he's like, everything's going great. And you turn the pages, Thanos returns.
It finishes the sentence. Yeah,
it's great.
And it's hard not to have like a really sinister orchestral theme in your
Yeah,
mind when you
yeah.
look at it. Yeah, it's great. I also really love the politics of Thanos' old kingdom and his old right-hand man that he had in Infinity. I think that this is the same guy who was in Infinity, who takes it over, and the differences in the way they rule, and ultimately why Thanos can get the upper hand over him.
Well, and I love the
without
conversation
giving
they
up
have
too
where the
much.
guy's like, you left. I wanted something, and you weren't here. And Thanos is like, no, you took something that was not yours.
Yeah,
it's great. It's great. I really like that.
yeah, and it's the, you know, it's the absolute power thing. It's the the strongest, you know, always wins. And of course, there's always going to be something stronger than the guy on top. You know, so who is it that would ultimately take out Thanos?
Well, and there's a caption when we cut back to Star Fox and not Lobo, whose name I just don't remember, and it says something about like the ones who will actually end the universe or something like that. And I was like, ooh.
Mind the Gap says that he hates it when comics do stuff like that because it wastes pages, and I agree with that. When I feel like I was gypped when I get to the end and I'm like, this is it, that's all we have.
Yeah, that didn't.
It's not like that with this, and
it's like the Snicked and Old Man Logan. Like that didn't feel like wasted page space.
Once you put it all together, I mean, it would be obnoxious if every issue of Star Wars did it.
Yeah,
and it doesn't.
Yeah.
With this, I said, I didn't feel like when I got to the end of it, I didn't get enough pages. When you collect it all in trade, you'd maybe more in you know, like that you had that. I should count the pages, which is a thing I never do on camera, which is irritating. But just to make sure that it's what I think it is, because I think they probably added 2 pages to do that. But let me make sure. 7, 9, 12, because oftentimes these books only have 20 pages now instead of 22. So if it has 22, they didn't rip us off. 14, 16, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. It's 22 pages. So they added 2 to have that. Unless we're back to 22 and I haven't noticed. But Marvel and DC both have been at 20 quite a bit lately.
Yeah, and Marvel announced it years ago.
Did they?
That they were making that change.
So I think it's totally fair there if everything hasn't been 22 lately.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's fair even if everything has been 22 because it works.
Yeah, but at $4, it works better in a trade.
Yeah.
Most certainly. I mean, I'm just saying that is a sentiment that I am sympathetic toward. But anyway, okay. Well, let's go ahead now.
Because that was my number 2.
My number 2, and we've already done my number 1. Let me get a drink real quick.
We knew there'd be a little bit of bleed over.
Yeah.
A lot of bleed over. 2 out of 3.
My number 2 this week is, excuse me, guys. Reborn. Issue 2. Really surprised that this is making my list, and I think it might have made my list the first issue too.
Yeah,
oh boy, I really, really like this so far. This is, of course, Mark Millar with Greg Capullo. I'm not a Millar guy. Twice in a row, this book makes my list.
You're not a fantasy guy.
And I'm not a fantasy guy. Here's why I love this premise, and I can get so behind the fantasy setting we have here. It's because it's an afterlife, and it's because these are regular people from our world who live in the world the way it is now, and when they die, they go to this place, and that immediately grounds it for me. That immediately makes it easier to have like a window into this world, because not only does our main character, our main character is an elderly woman who spent her whole life helping other people and not really worrying about herself. And she was like, she should have been a saint. I mean, that's kind of, and I mean, like, it's Mark Millar. That's the main character. That's crazy talk, which kind of makes me think that really awful, horrible things are going to happen to him. But anyway, so the idea is she's going to die, and she's afraid of death. And when she passes away, she goes to this fantasy world where she's young again, and she's surrounded by people that she remembers from her life that are all of various ages. Apparently, it is totally arbitrary what age you are when you come into this afterlife. So some people
kind of interesting
are the age they were, and some of them come back as children. So there's somebody she knows that she talks to at the beginning of this, and I can't remember who he is and how he's related to her, but he came in at like 3 years old, and he had to live his life again. But other people come in elderly. It's complete. It's like, it's very much a life is not fair message.
Is there still death there? Like, if you come in at 80, do you only have, like,
yeah,
10 years?
So the idea is every realm is just a lead-in to the next realm.
Oh.
So this is not the afterlife. This is just another dimension. When you die, you go to this other place where you're immortal, and magical type things are possible. And there's this scary, dark, like floating mountain place where all the bad people go. And
you pointed to, you held the issue up to it. That's where the bad people go.
Yeah, I had a Nirvana song in my head because the guy that is kind of her guide through this points at the mountain and he's like, "That's where bad people go when they die." I'm like, "Oh, that's where the bad people go." Okay. The most interesting thing in this issue is the woman who is the queen right now of this land. Because again, it's very like medieval times, and she is the main character's childhood best friend. And she's kind of they talk about her like she's kind of got some screws loose, and that the afterlife being different than what she thought it would be when she died kind of messed with her head.
I can imagine that would happen to a lot of people.
Yeah, and it's because she was Christian and expected to see Jesus, and when she dies, there's no Jesus, and it messes with her. And and she decides that she has a very nihilistic kind of philosophy. And when she sees her childhood best friend, she does not care. And the main character is expecting help from her, expecting them to rekindle their friendship and stuff. And she doesn't want anything to do with her, doesn't care, and makes her go away. And that whole dynamic, I think, is going to be absolutely fascinating moving forward, especially because she's running everything and thinks that morality itself is a lie. Oh boy, that's interesting. So yeah, the questions of ethics with this, like the idea that if you died, you would just wind up somewhere else and you could die again. It changes everything. Because I mean, people always talk about how about the notion that what makes life worth living is death, because you don't know how long you have someplace else.
Well, but it also would. But wouldn't you, if you knew that?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you try to be the best person you could, because you don't know where everyone you're mean to or awful to is going to end up in the next dimension?
Well, yeah, and that's certainly true too. Yeah, but I guess the deal is we don't know yet, and there hasn't been any talk about it, if the same rules apply. So I don't know what happens to you if you die a third time. Because you're right, like everybody who dies and winds up in this world, they're placed where they're placed based on works, which is kind of against the biblical philosophy. The idea,
so it's not arbitrary. You get placed
based on what you did in your life. Yeah. And so because she was a saint, basically, and helped everyone her whole life, and was never really never mean to anybody, she is charged with protecting this world, and is given a sword, and she's like supposed to be the hero of the world. And of course, she's not ready for that because she didn't kill before. That's not what she was about. Another thing that's really interesting is they also go there with their childhood pets. The pets are used to go find people that they know that they want to reconnect with.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So that's going to be like, and some of them are anthropomorphized and some of them are not. And I don't know what that's about yet. But anyway, I am fascinated by this and really taken in by it. It's quite immersive. Okay, what is your number one?
My number one is Jessica Jones #2.
I liked it quite a bit. We had to read it online because we weren't able to get our hands on a copy this week.
Yeah. It feels like 2005 Bendis. It feels like Bendis finally getting back to what he actually wants to be writing. He's doing, it's hard-boiled PI, and it's deliberately paced in the way that Bendis books are deliberately paced, but it feels like a lot happens.
it feels like Bendis at his best 10 years ago. To me.
Yeah. To like 2005, 2004. Like it is that era of Bendis. And it's great. I not once. One of my issues with the first issue, my only issue really with the first issue was Jessica felt off because she wasn't swearing. I didn't have that at all with this issue. I mean, she doesn't swear in this issue as well, which is weird because it's a mature reader's book. But
she ought to.
All of the stuff with her and Luke and just inside her head, he's doing some really great character stuff. And it's so sad. Yeah. He did not just come back to this book because there was a TV show. He had stories to tell with this character.
That's probably why it got greenlit. But
yeah.
He's taking advantage of it.
It's the same artist that was that drew it before.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
I was going to ask you that.
And oh boy, did they get better. Because if I have any complaint with Alias as a comic, it's that I don't like his art. This is what I think his art should have looked like the first time around. Mm-hmm. But I really love all the stuff they're doing with her psychology and her relationship with Luke Cage. I'm really interested to see where that goes. And then the mystery that they set up last issue gets moved in a completely different direction at this. This is not like a more modern Bendis thing where it feels like in this issue, like we'll get like 4 issues and like finally we're gonna do something with the mystery.
I mean, we had
everything
one like
is different
this week.
Yep.
What was it?
Infamous Iron Man.
It was Infamous Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
We had one of those this week.
Everything is different in the case that she's doing. Everything is different. I love that because it was in the first issue. It's in this issue. Where is their kid? Like Luke's looking for their for what she's done with their daughter, and her mom that she hates is the one that's watching her because that's the last person Luke would expect her to give her kid to.
I forgot about that. Yeah, you probably are appreciating that book even more than me because I haven't read the previous series.
Well, and I really appreciated in the room, how it opens in the room when she's giving birth, because that's not something we ever actually got to see. So that was really nice, and then of course it's there to. Because Luke says something like, everything's going to be okay, we're going to make it, and then it cuts to...
It's not okay.
Yeah, everything is not okay, and Luke is like, everything is different now, you've ruined everything.
And that is a dramatic shouting match in the way those ought to work, where there's a real escalation to it, and it doesn't feel like we're forcing drama. Look, people are yelling at each other! Like, I totally see both sides of that. Mm-hmm. I think ultimately Luke is probably more right than she is there, but I don't. Well, but I guess I don't know enough about the situation.
Well, and she went to prison, and we don't know why.
Don't know why. We don't know why. This is another one of those things where I don't know if I don't know things because I didn't read previous material, or if it's a mystery at the moment.
It's a mystery. We don't know what happened. And
so we don't even know why they broke up.
Yes. Yeah, we have no idea.
Because the last time I saw them, they were together.
Yep.
It wasn't that long ago either.
Yep. It is kind of weird reading this and Power Man Iron Fist, where he's just having fun, jumping around Harlem.
I don't think they're straight up divorced, probably, right?
No, they're just separated, I believe.
Okay.
They're still talking like theoretically they could get back.
They'll get back together.
Like some of the things Luke's saying is like you're making it so that we can't fix this, that kind of stuff.
It's not that they had an argument, it's that he can't be with her. And that's why it felt in that scene like he was probably the one I was supposed to sort of more sympathize with.
Mm-hmm.
He's a self-destructive personality
Absolutely.
that tends to ruin relationships.
And I love the scene where she comes back home to her office and she's thinking about the different people that could be waiting for her. I thought that was a great scene. Mm-hmm. Just her own paranoia of coming home. I mean, it's her office, but coming home and being like, "Who's waiting for me?"
Yeah, that was again from her perspective, seeing the scenarios.
Yeah.
Don't you also appreciate that immediately after a really intense scene, we get some pretty good comedy with her trying to fly?
Yes. Well, and it's comedy. It's also depressing.
Yeah, it is.
This is a real downer book.
That's why it feels real. Yeah.
But Alias was a downer book. Oh man, this is everything that I love, all wrapped up. And then we have a villain. I'm not going to say who the villain is, but I think this is Bendis trying to do what he did last time, where he took Purple Man, which was a villain that no one cared about, and he's like, no, this guy could be really scary. I think he picked another villain where he's going to try and do that with. Now, you've said it's kind of already been done a little bit.
But the person we're talking about, and we won't give it away, was not a master plan villain. It wasn't the main villain for the story or the arc. I'm hoping it is this time.
Yeah, I'm really thinking that Bendis was like, okay, I took Purple Man, I made him the scariest person in the Marvel Universe. Can I do that again?
Now, my only reservation about this issue is that it is not going to be as much about the stuff I thought it was. And part of the reason that I jumped on this in the first place was to find out what in the world's going on with the Ultimate crossover.
I think it might still be.
Well, and of course, she's trying to she's trying to continue to help the person that she that she started representing.
Some of the stuff that we find out about the case at the end, I think that we might not be dealing with the continuity issues, but the psychological fallout of what that would really do to you. I think the husband did it. Like,
yeah. That's great. Well, of course, the TV show, she always says that. Yeah. But the thing is, what I'm so impressed with is that I got into this book for continuity reasons, and I'm going to stay with this book for character reasons.
Yeah,
it's got me really engaged,
and that's what I was hoping this book would, because Alias is a great character book. At some point, we'll have to sit down and do a review of that or something.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, I love this book. Kind of.
Okay.
It's a thing.
Well, once again, my number one was now Thanos, and we've talked about that ad nauseum. So anyway, everybody, and this is a really easy jump right on and read the book.
It's a great jumping on point.
It is. It sure is. But I mean, you don't have to know too much. You can, if you like that kind of thing. Okay, let's go ahead now and move on to. We were gonna do some runner-up. Why don't we do them real quick?
Okay.
We'll just mention our runners-up, our runner-ups. We did this because we knew that we had a lot of crossover this week, and we want to make sure that we mentioned some other books. So my runner-ups this week. Oh my goodness, where is everything? Trinity number 3. Eric read this too and liked it quite a bit.
I have no idea what's going on. I really like it.
Well, our Trinity are in a kind of hallucinized world, and that is, we found out last issue, being created by Poison Ivy, it seems, and they're each.
Oh, is that why she shows up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because she is responsible for this world. Yeah, fair enough.
Oh, that's right. You told me that, and I forgot.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, we're reading a lot of different things, and each of these issues after the first one seem to be because it looks like we're going to do this one with Wonder Woman next time too. Going back to kind of the origin place for these characters and dealing with what kind of nightmares and stuff about those things. I have to recommend this mostly on nightmare imagery and glorious artwork and just making the Trinity.
There's some great pages with Scarecrow. I love how Scarecrow is drawn in this.
Yeah, let me jump back to him. Yeah, and on the horse.
Yeah. Jumping out of a building on a horse.
So liking the experience of this more than the story so far. I think this could turn into.
That's how I would describe what I read.
But it also could end up being great. I don't know yet. Also, just the dynamic of the three of them because it's kind of in going back to Origin. It's kind of like I don't want to say reinventing the characters, of course, but just reestablishing them, right? Because we have a Superman that's not from this world, and I like that dynamic a lot. I'm going to mention Old Man Logan number 13. This is the end of The Last Ronin, and we got a lot done with this. I thought the ending of this arc was really good and really heartfelt, and I like how it fits. I like how it fits into the events of the original Old Man Logan. Now that I've read that, this is I'm much more enjoying it. But at the end of this, we get to see. I don't think this is a big spoiler, but we get to see Logan and his wife find the home that they start with. That's cool. and that's kind of neat. But Logan is kind of dealing with this kid who is becoming a monster and trying to trying to make him believe that he has a choice to not be the monster, which is what Old Man Logan was all about. And I really like how we're going back to that after he's learned that lesson, hoping that he can still hold on to that ideal himself, because he has an opportunity here to just let go and completely become Wolverine and let that totally wash over him. And he is becoming kind of the Captain America refusing to change character. And I really like that. What are your runners-up, sir?
All right, so my runners-up are going to be Cave Carson has a cybernetic eye, #2. One of the Young Animals books. This is weird, and I don't know what's going on, but I really like it.
Sort of like Trinity.
No, that was the joke I was making. I actually have a better understanding of what's going on in this issue than last issue. It's still really weird. Mostly because this feels like a sequel to a book that I didn't read.
Oh, interesting.
This is almost like a Johnny Quest book. If like we cut forward 10 years and Johnny was grown up and kind of wasn't in a great place with his father, and like his father was working through things, and adventures that he'd had when he was young are coming back to haunt him. I'm enjoying it. I like it. I'll give it a couple more issues, and then my other honorable mention is Green Arrow #11, which is the second part of Murder on the Empire Express,
which is a book I am finally going to go ahead and jump back onto.
Because it's good.
I read some of it. So there's a Clock King arc, and so I finally read some of it, and I'm really liking it. In fact, I love a lot of other things about it.
So this is train that runs, it connects a bunch of different places. It was a thing that Ollie's dad had started to make before he died. He had this dream of making a train that connects continents that aren't connected. And
interesting.
And then it got finished after he died, or, well, I mean, he didn't die. If you read the Lemire's run, after he disappeared and faked his death, it gets finished and is used to run drugs.
That's sort of like, oh, that's sad. That's sort of like Thomas Wayne and Batman Begins on a much larger scale.
Yeah.
And exactly the same thing happens with that. Well, not running drugs, but just that it falls apart.
I've been reading a lot of things lately that trains are like a thematic element.
Yeah.
But so train, and there's a bunch of people there, and it is this group of people from various places around the world who all want to make the world a better place. And there's this one guy who is coming for peace talks between the Middle East and the more Western world. Like he's got these like grand ideals. These really like pure, almost impossible ideas of how the world could work. And are afraid of this. This is still all kind of dealing with that first arc in the ninth circle. So they have him murdered on this train, and it's Eddie Fires, who is a character from Grell's run, who's reinvented really interestingly here as someone.
Oh, was that the same Fires from the first season of
Yes,
Arrow?
yes.
Oh, I didn't realize he was a comic book character.
Yes,
okay.
yes, he's a comic book character. He comes from the Grell run. He's in Longbow Hunters.
Does he have? Oh, is he? Okay.
Yep.
Does he have the same kind of role in that, or is it different?
No, it's really different.
Okay.
He's an assassin. In Grell's run, he's kind of an on-again, off-again ally, on-again, off-again villain.
Weird, because he's super generic in Arrow.
Yeah. In this, he's an assassin. It's kind of an update of the '80s character where he's kind of an assassin without morals, and he's a guy that's doing it for the money, but he's also rationalizing what he's doing, why it is okay to kill, because he wants peace, and peace will stop war. But if you stop war, that's going to wreck the economy, because so much stuff is interesting character. I'm really enjoying Green Arrow. So that's I'm glad to be enjoying Green Arrow again, and based on the ending, I'm kind of interested to see what happens next.
I'm going to come back to it. Because I didn't realize just how much. Two things. I didn't realize just how much it was going to build on all that great stuff Lemire did, and then it's kind of back to that status quo. But I also really like Black Canary, and wasn't real sure about the relationship in the first couple issues. Boy, they sold me with Aid.
Oh, she's great. Yeah.
Just the stuff on the island, they just sold me with that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree.
She's one. That is the most romantic thing in comics I've read in so long. Like real, honest to God, believable romance. Anyway, they are great together, and it's impressive because the book keeps telling you how great they are together, and it doesn't.
And they are.
They are. Yeah. It's wonderful. What is your favorite cover for this week, Eric?
My favorite cover would be Jessica Jones #2, but I don't have it here.
So it is, but just imagine it. Just go on Google and look it up. Just put it in this box I'm making.
If you want to know what it really is,
in front of my head, right above Jurassic Park, Jessica Jones, right there.
But of the books we actually have here, I'm gonna go with Simon number 2. Also a Bendis book, also #2. We'll get to that.
Okay, well, that answers my next question. My favorite cover for this week is now Thanos, because of course it is. And I got he's standing on skulls. It's great. I don't have to analyze this cover. We understand
what does it
this
mean?
cover. Just read the issue. Just stare at it. It's great. But also, Eric got me the giant poster of this, so I love it even more because I get to see
I got that
in glorious gargantuan size. Yeah, okay. So now let's go on to worst book of the week.
Infamous Iron #2 is my worst book of the week.
I thought so.
Where Jessica Jones is Bendis at top form, Infamous Iron Man is Bendis at his most mediocre. This feels like an extra scene. Last issue. I really like the first issue. This issue feels like things barely move forward. Like we just inch ahead. I was really disappointed with how little happens in this issue. And
it's not bad. It's just not enough happens. You feel weird paying $4 for it. It feels like...
Well, and it's... Like, the cover looks like it's going to be the Royal Road.
That's true.
The Thing and Dr. Doom are going to fight. That doesn't happen until the last.
I mean, I don't know if that's the main cover. You always got to be careful about that.
It is because it's that's Malieve.
Okay,
that's the interior artist as well.
I'm always real hesitant to be like, oh, it's not what's. Got to make sure that it's the A cover.
Yeah,
if it's not, that's okay.
Based on where this issue goes, that should be the cover for next issue.
Sure. And you kind of expect that Royal Rumble to maybe happen next issue.
Yep. I mean, it's still well written. The dialogue's still good, but it really feels like nothing happened in this issue.
It doesn't make you want to get off it. It's not like it suddenly took a turn where you're like, oh, we can't go there.
Yeah, no, it just feels like he killed time for an issue. Mm-hmm. It feels like this whole issue feels like it should have been the first 5 8.
If I had a quarter for every time we that complain with Mr. Bendis. Yeah. Well, and it's great because we put. Boy, I can't even find it.
My worst issue and my favorite issue were the same writer, the same number in a series, and the exact opposite.
I feel bad about it. I don't want to pick the exact same thing. I might have done that. I might have said Superman #11. I did not care. I just didn't care. It's not bad. I just didn't care about Superman. You know what? This is going to be my worst issue.
I could have picked Carnage because I finished reading my books and I just grabbed Carnage off a stack and I was like, man. Jubilee is psychically connected to Carnage. Who knew?
Did you go, oh, I see why you've been buying these but not reading them?
Well, no, because it's all Lovecraftian, and that's kind of more in my wheelhouse, so I see why I haven't been reading them. It was fine.
This is a taste issue for me. A lot of people are going to find this really fun, and that's totally cool. I don't know if I should. I just don't want to pick Bendis again.
I gave him Top Banana.
I know, no, you did, and then we almost want to pick 2 issues for bottom from the same guy. Okay, so with this, it's Damian and John Kent, the son of Superman, being put through trials by Superman and Batman, trying to force them to get along. And I didn't care. Some of it's kind of fun, I guess. The art's all right. But this is going to be my worst this week. So I complained about this in a rant I did on GNN this week. But this is all about... Miles Morales being on the run.
It says Civil War 2 on the cover. You complained it didn't say Civil War 2.
Oh, it does! Oh.
Your rant is invalid.
My rant is invalid. It's right up here, but it's not in the banner place where it usually is because I don't love this. I don't know. Anyway. Title of the book's supposed to go? Okay, so my rant is invalid. But I'm just
Should have
picking
picked an
this
old man rant.
because I should have picked an old man rant. But I feel like it's pretty skippable. But nothing I read was like bad this week, so it's not.
I didn't hate anything I read this week.
It's not a big deal. We're just once again, it's just so decompressed. There's not enough going on. I do love the exchange between Bombshell and Gold Balls, where Bombshell's trying to get him to not go with Gold Balls and is giving him other suggestions of things to call.
Gold Balls is legend.
Yeah. Yes, he is. Okay, anyway, moving right along. So that was fun and indecisive. Let's go on now to our anticipated books for this coming week. And Eric, what 3 books are you most excited about for this week?
I am most excited
Look at this monitor and find out what books you're excited about.
I'm most excited about Teen Titans #2. Now Venom, because it's written by Mike Costa, who does G.I. Joe Cobra, that I really liked. I don't care about Venom, but I like Mike Costa. And then Ultimates 2 #1.
You don't care about Venom. Venom's great.
Ultimates 2
we should
#1.
show like this from now.
We should.
Hello, everybody.
Ultimates 2 #1 because the last Ultimates 2 is kind of my favorite comic of all time. So I'm hoping this one will meet that standard.
Somebody needs to explain that to me. I don't get it. Why are we calling it Ultimates 2? I mean, okay, so I haven't caught up yet. So maybe that title for some reason will sort of make sense, but it's not the same thing. It's like, it seems like they're just doing that because there was an Ultimates and an Ultimates 2, but it's right after that. Like,
so
there was an Ultimates last month. I don't understand that.
So in all honesty, I didn't have a #3. I saw Ultimates 2 #1. I was like, I'm picking that because I'm going to hold it to the standard of the original Ultimates 2.
On mine, my 3 books I'm most excited about, Now Venom #1. Also, Superpowers #1 is a miniseries by the Tiny Titans team, and we haven't had those guys doing kids comics in a long time, so I'm excited to see them back doing kind of a Justice League thing. They did a Superman book that was in that style for a while, and now we're going to get to see them do adult superheroes in. With that kind of comedy, and more than just Superman, which is great. It's sort of like grown-up Tiny Titans in a way, not really, but that's kind of fun. And then Ninja Turtle 64, because that arc has been wonderful past that first issue. So anyway, the answer to the trivia question for this week.
Wait, did you do all 3 of them?
Yeah, starting with Now Venom.
Oh, you also had Now Venom. Okay.
And Superpowers.
Okay, I missed Now Venom. I missed Now Venom.
So are we good? Okay,
we're good.
So the answer to the trivia question that was somewhat wrong, the trivia question, not the answer.
Standing with Bane.
Is Vengeance of Bane. I answered correctly first by Brendan Cawley. So congratulations, you get a copy of Now Thanos #1. So make sure that I get a message from you, either personal message on YouTube or on Facebook. Facebook is kind of an easier way to get a hold of me, but I'll make sure and look there too. And I will send you the digital code for Now Thanos. And we are over time, but we will talk to you for the next 5 or 10 minutes. If there's anything anybody would like to ask us in the comics world, we like to talk specifically about comics in this segment if we can. And if there's anything major superhero screen you really want to talk about, we can do that here too. But we like to try to keep things as comic book as we can here on New Comic Late Night. So if there's any topics of discussion you guys would like us to bring up, or any direct questions, any books that came out this last week that you think we might have read that you want to ask us about, feel free to do that too. Of course, we're not going down my entire pull list anymore because that was getting exhausting, probably for you as well as for me. I think this format is working a whole lot better, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. I know I am. And let's go ahead and read some questions. Thanks for asking them. Azim asks, is there any way to maintain existing comic continuity whilst facilitating the inclusion of new readers? Is rebooting the only way to go? What a great question. We should do a GNN on that question.
That's a really good question.
I think it's a really good question. I'll make sure and copy that, but we will answer it in microcosm right now. Eric, do you have a quick 60-second answer to that?
I think we used to be able to do it just fine. I don't know why for the past 15 years comic writers have been incapable of dealing with continuity. One of my biggest things that we used to do that I really like is we could remember where the last time we saw a character. So like a villain would pop up and the writer had the courtesy to be like, well, they were last seen here in this book, and this is how they got here. The Melter was last fighting Fantastic Four. Now they're an Iron Man, and this is
we used to care. The Melter?
Yeah, he's an Iron Man villain.
Oh, I've never heard of it.
But we used to care about that kind of thing, and now you have stuff like Mark Waid not caring that we established clearly that Bullseye was dead.
Yeah.
Bullseye was dead.
Mm-hmm. But what he's talking about is keeping up with continuity, but also making it so the new readers can read the books.
But the thing is, we used to we kept track of where everything was. Everything was tight for the most part, and no one ever complained about being lost back in the 70s.
Yeah.
People just jumped on issues.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true.
They didn't need a big number 1 on the cover to know that this was a good jumping on point. Every issue was a good jumping on point while still being an ongoing story.
May I suggest, though, that part of the problem is television. That part of it is that people are so used to, in the main form of storytelling that they're getting, the main format of that in television, and even movies, really, since so much stuff is franchised. We are completionists now. Yeah. You are a completionist when it comes to television. I cannot get you to start in the middle of something. You have to start at the beginning, even if it's a thing that is very episodic and isn't super archy. Part of the reason that wasn't a problem in the 70s was because we weren't.
Our television was like that.
Yeah, we weren't predisposed to feeling like we had to have everything. And so the thing about the jumping on points is it makes it feel like people hope that feels enough like a soft reboot.
Yeah, the idea.
I really think that.
The idea of jumping on at a new season to me.
Like, and people don't do it.
Yeah.
But
these new Marvel number 1s.
Yeah, and some of that is just because we don't number them like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Ultimates 2 is weird for that reason. But I honestly think that is part of it. I'm not sure what you can do about it. I think some of it is cultural. I really do.
Marvel doesn't need to reboot because Marvel just ignores the stuff that they don't want to deal with right now.
And I also think that we just need more books that are standalone and don't cross too much into too many other things.
Because the real comparison to television is runs.
Yeah.
You start at the beginning of a run and you read 40, 50 issues.
Yes, exactly.
And that's really what's more like television, where you should start at the beginning and then read the whole thing or whatever. Binge reading. But
people, especially brand new to comics, have this idea, and that's why numbers scare people away. You do still have people that look at Superman 946 or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, I can't read all of it." Well, no, it doesn't all fit together anyway. Mm-hmm. It's just that just tells you how many we've had, and now it doesn't wholly, but
we talk a lot about binge watching and binge reading. Can we start doing purge watching and purge reading? Because I got a lot of stuff I need out of my brain.
Yeah, no, absolutely, sure, and things that I wish I could have gotten rid of already, that still sit in some place. I'm trying to learn how to do that, on my own, without any kind of external apparatus or anything. Just you close your eyes and it's gone.
You need the Eternal Sunshine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I need to instant repression would be just wonderful, All right, let's look at some other questions. We will try to expound upon that though in a future video. I think that would be great, and I'd love to hear some of our other panelists talk about that.
Everyone else is gonna have to work real hard to come up to that level of questions.
Thoughts on the report that Catwoman will not be in the solo Batman film? I am excited, but then again, I dislike her save for in King's Run.
She would be.
That's not especially surprising necessarily. I just it's involved in that. Yeah.
It'd be weirder. It would be weirder if it was called like Batman the Thief in the Night, and they're like, by the way, Catwoman's not in it. Like, oh, that's weird. I would have assumed the Catwoman was. Like, I wouldn't immediately assume Catwoman would be in it, so I don't know why they had to report that she wasn't.
But this opens because we gotta get clicks on our articles. This opens.
Is Clock King in it? Can you make sure that he's not in it? Can I get an announcement? Is Riddler not in it? Is Bane not in it?
But on the other hand, this is an established Batman world where he's been around for a long time, so you could certainly see her being a thing that shows up.
I wouldn't be surprised if she was there.
Yeah,
but I'm not surprised that she's not
I know.
There.
It's funny that that's a report, but we're scraping for everything we can get about it at this point because it's so far off. It kind of suggests an interesting question though, which is since we have an older Batman, a lot of his supporting cast would have to be older than we're used to seeing them.
Yeah.
I don't really find their Catwoman 40.
Their Catwoman has to be a woman.
Yeah.
She's not going to be a girl.
No. Hmm. 10 years younger than Batman and still be older than we usually see Catwoman.
Yeah. Although that would go weird, backwards.
But we also already have a 40-year-old Lois Lane, so maybe you wouldn't even hardly notice.
Yeah.
Just
I don't know.
Get somebody.
Really? She's 40?
Yeah.
Oh, she looks great.
Mm-hmm. Well, she was almost 40 in Man of Steel, so she's quite a bit past 40 now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. No, I was really surprised. I think she was 38 in Man of Steel.
I thought she was like 32.
Everybody thinks that. Yeah, she looks amazing. Amy Adams. Let's do one or two more. Stuff to talk about here.
You guys have any more questions?
Let me run up here a little bit. Somebody wants us to read Invincible.
Batman
kicks ass.
We talked about doing the last issue of Invincible and be like, I can't wait to see what happens next.
Put it in our top 3. Well, hope the rest of that series is really good because I skipped to the last page. Would either of you consider reading the new Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows series? Actually, I did read the first issue. I didn't talk about it last week because I couldn't get it in my comic shop, so it was already sold out, so I had to read it online, and I forgot to bring it up. I liked it okay. I need more of it.
I didn't read it.
Reservations about it. It's we put, hopefully this isn't too much of a spoiler now that we're a week out. We put Mary Jane in a Spider-Man costume.
Yeah, you talked about that.
And it seems like everybody's supporting cast has to all become superheroes now. And that seems to be like a trend we're doing with everybody. So it seemed a little bit typical to me. Her suit was kind of cool. And it was, and also the... So I guess let me give you some positives. First of all, the art is wonderful in that. I also really like. It feels like ways what I wish a current Spider-Man book looked like because I love that status quo. I love older Spider-Man being married. He's got a kid.
That's kind of my Spider-Man. That is my Spider-Man.
So since I'm not reading Slott, I am likely to buy this book and start reading it because it's sort of what you would expect. That it reads like if One More Day had never happened, this is what we would have. And I really like that. I like them together. It's exactly that relationship. It's spot on.
That's funny because when Spider-Girl was coming out, it was just the hadn't happened.
Yeah.
This is what would have happened.
Yep, that's right. I have reservations about their fighting together like that. It might end up being really cool, but she's borrowing a portion of his powers, almost a la tapping into the Morphin Grid in Power Rangers, and I don't know how I feel about it yet. I need more of it. Was not a bad start though, but wasn't good enough to go on my top 3.
If you're gonna start pulling it, I'll read that first issue.
Absolutely,
because I like Married Spider-Man.
I will probably start pulling that.
We'll renew our vows with that series.
We sure will. Mm-hmm. Us the old married the old. I
meant with Spider-Man.
I know, but I had to say people are still talking about that in the comments. More Black Cat.
I agree.
Mind the Gap. If we exist in a superhero industry inspired by the militarization, for the past 15 years, then what comes next as inspiration? Oh, that's interesting. That sounds like another GNN question. We'll table that for now. That's a good question, but let's make a video out of that at some point. Bring that up again if I don't. I like that a lot. I wish Steve was around. But I like that a lot. Mind the Gap also asks, have you seen the Telltale Batman? It's unusual to see a young Batman use drones. Yeah, but that had to happen at some point. And that's very Kingdom Come.
This is part of the thing we talked about last night, where we are getting to a point technologically realistic to have Batman do these things. It is wrong for the character.
It's not necessarily interesting. I mean, it just makes him too powerful.
Now, neither of us have played that.
Riddler until he's not yet. It's got to get done first.
Yeah. I'm also waiting for that.
Riddler until he says in the Silver Age he had a giant floating eye that monitors Gotham at night. Yeah. Batman has been real militant at times. I don't
Superman shot a tiny Superman out of his hand. What is your point?
I don't think it's wrong for the character. I think it depends on where he is in his history and what take you're doing on him. So he can't be. It's got to be somewhat of a cautionary tale and somewhat of a Batman that's gone a little too far. I think
it
once
feels
he starts doing
too
that.
sci-fi for Bat. Like I know we have drones in real life. This is where it gets weird. It feels too sci-fi for me for Batman.
Well, but
especially in early Batman.
The issue for me is again, it's Kingdom Come, right? He's got too much control.
Mm-hmm.
He's taken over. So as soon as Batman starts using drones, he has created a police state.
I mean, and that's what it is in Kingdom Come.
Yeah, exactly. And I have a hard time seeing it any other way. So I mean, like I guess you could tell a story where he tries that. But it would have to almost be about
he has
that.
to choose not to at the end of that.
Same time, if you start seeing a lot more drones being used by like the police in real life and stuff,
yeah, it feels like
then it's going to get normal. Yeah.
Again,
it's just we're living in the future.
Is that what
you're going to say?
Yeah, I just don't like it. Like I think we are now getting to a point where we should stop having certain characters set in modern day. It's just too advanced.
Yeah.
James Bond does not make sense in this world anymore. Batman doesn't make sense in this world anymore.
We don't do a lot of present-day Shadow. I mean, there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, thanks always for watching. We sure appreciate it. That's going to be it for us. Thanks for watching. We went a little bit late tonight, but I think we had some fun and engaging discussion. We will see you again next Monday night at 10 Central for more all-new comic book late night, talking about our favorite books from this last week. And Lo should be joining us then. Also, this Sunday night at 8 o'clock, be here for a brand new episode of Geeks Not Nerds Live. And we've got lots more stuff coming your way, including a new episode of He Made Me Watch. We are bringing back Deep Space Babylon 59. That's coming this week. There's going to be a new episode of Spider-Man Page by Page. A lot of stuff I got to sit down and edit, and possibly a new rewind this week. Although with all of that stuff I've got to edit, I don't know if I'll get to it.
I'm really sorry I swear so much. You have to cut all that out.
I do. It takes forever, and it's obnoxious. And I'll dock your pay. I'll take it out of that. Thanks all for watching. Sure appreciate it, folks. I am Captain Logan.
I'm Eric,
and we'll see you next time.